Hello, welcome to Unfiltered with Mariat. I am here to have real conversations that inspire, challenge, and connect us. Together, we will dive into stories that matter, build authentic connections, and uncover strategies to grow capital, whether it's financial, social, or personal. No filters, no holding back, just impactful discussion with incredible changemakers and visionaries. Let's grow together. Join me. Unfiltered with Mariat. Hi, Heather. Welcome to Unfiltered with Mariat, where we have great conversations, build connections, and grow capital. Thank you so much for joining me all the way from Whistler. So excited to have you on board and an incredible woman like you that keeps shining the light across BC. So welcome to Unfiltered with Mariat, Heather. So let's kick off.
Thank you for having me.
How are you today? It's a rainy day, but no surprise. This is BC. So tell us, who is Heather?
Well, I will answer the how are you today as well because I woke up and I just felt and it's a rainy day but I really needed to motivate myself to get moving this morning. So I did a workout this morning and I'm feeling much better. Who am I? So I am the founder of WNorth. I founded WNorth 10 years ago to support women on their leadership journey with a mission to get more women into senior executive leadership positions. We started as a conference in 2015, and we have evolved into a global membership network. And I have other hats, which I can get into, but that is me in a nutshell.
I really want to know about the other arts. This is Unfiltered with Mary. Tell me more. We have time.
The other hats that I wear? Well, I am a mom of two kids, which is definitely a busy hat. I have a 5 and an 8-year-old. As you mentioned, I live in Whistler. I also run an events business called Bluebird, which is 15 years old in January. And we've just gone through a rebrand, and we're really focused on third-party corporate travel, doing conferences and events for other organizations. So lots going on in my world, but definitely the mission-based work at WNorth is what really fires me up.
I love it. Fires you up. So what fires you up in the morning? You did say to me earlier on, I woke up feeling like, and then I did a workout, excuse me. So do you want to tell us like workout is one of the things that fires you up, or give us an idea? Because the people listening out there and they'll be like, maybe like you this morning, we all get days that we need that extra push and extra motivation. It starts with self-motivation, which is what you've just done, the workout and everything. So what else fires you up?
So this is a bit new to me, I have to say. I've only really stepped into working out in the last year. I have had a Peloton since 2022 or something, but I was like a lazy biker, I would say. And I'm going to share a story because it literally came up this morning in my mind while I was writing. So I had the great opportunity to be invited to go to Richard Branson's private island this summer, Necker Island.
That's amazing. Necker
And
Island. Wow.
he is 74 and he loves biking. And I thought I was, kind of all right at biking because I've been using Peloton for 2 years. And so one of the morning activities was going over to this other island, Virgin Gorda, to do bike ride. Well, the people were with her from all over the world. I'm from Whistler. Everybody in Whistler bikes, sort of including me, but not to the same extent. I felt I really need to go to this bike ride because I'm the girl from Whistler and everyone expects me to ride and to be good. Little did I know that this ride is completely uphill. Like we're talking the entire way. So I would say that sort of spoiler alert, I didn't make it to the top. But there were 6 of us that showed up, and I think the fact that I showed up was enough because 19 people signed up. So for me,
I love
I
it. I
think
love
the
where this
lesson
conversation is going.
I guess the lesson I'm trying to sort of share, and the reason it came up this morning because I did a hill climb on Peloton, and I was like, this is reminiscent of that morning with Richard and just being like, okay, if I even just make it 50% of the way, 50% is showing up, and 50%, and I've made it 50%. So when I got kind of halfway, I was like, okay, I'm good. And I didn't feel like a failure because I was like, you know what? 50% was showing up. And then I did as best I could. So I guess I'm kind of bringing that up because this morning when I really didn't want to get out, I really didn't want to get out of bed. I just kind of kept thinking back to that moment where I was like, okay, 50% is showing up. And then even if I show up for 50% of it, or I make it 50% of the way, then I've made 100%. So that's my math. And that's kind of what keeps me going sometimes is when I really don't want to do something is like, I don't have to show up in my math of like 110% every time. So I think for me, it's just a matter of like moving around some numbers in my head,
I
getting
love
things
this. I
going.
love where this conversation is going. As thank you for setting the tone. Because here on Unfiltered with Mariat, I don't set a topic we're going to talk about. It's just having a conversation, just like imagine just sitting in your front room with a girl and we're just chatting away and talking about anything we want to talk about. And I love the way you said so many things, and I want to bring you back. And you talked about expectations. I'm this girl from Whistler, so everyone expect that I'll be amazing, a pro for riding bikes, right? And then you talked about also I didn't feel like a failure because I did my 50%, which is already just showing up, even just before you climb that bike. And setting expectation and you not expecting, not understanding what was in front of you, that you had to go up heaven to just like ride this bike, and this was not something you were expecting that was going to happen, but you did the best you could. And I think it's a reminder that just doing the best, even if it's 10%, it's one step ahead of us achieving 100%. 100% doesn't have to be the first attempt. And this is why failure is the biggest success step you can ever get. And I'm saying that from my own life experience. I remember when I came to WNorth conference in Whistler and I talked about my climbing to the hiking I did with my friend. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know I was gonna hike, on a terrain that I couldn't manage with my wobbling and, unfit body and legs. But I did it anyway to the best of my ability. Right. And I felt that was a huge success, because even so many people with full able body will not want to do it, but I did it. And I
Yeah.
did it to the best of my ability, even though I got help at the end. I was halfway and I had to get help, right? So thank you for setting the tone and setting a reminder to anyone listening that 50% is just showing up, right, Heather?
Yes,
And you show
exactly.
up so beautifully. Like I see what you do and I'm very inspired by and I really want to support you, Eva, because and I'm saying this openly, because I met some incredible friendship, met some incredible women at Dublin North. And that was all because Eva had this idea. She put it up together. She showed up 50%. And she did a 200%, even more than 200% success. And everyone was so lovely and ready to connect and ready to support one another. And I just think that is so noble. That is so worthy of an award. That was so appreciable. And I want to talk to any corporate or organization listening. Look for Heather Odendaal and do business with her because honestly, there is a magic that you put out there. So how do you make this magic happen? I know you talk about bluebirds. I'm beginning to understand. Oh my gosh, she's an expert. She does this all the time. Like you really an expert. So tell us.
Yeah. Well, so I'm an event planner by trade, is what I say. Is that's what I started doing in the beginning of my career. And kind of I moved into a couple of different things, but at the end of the day, I think my superpower is bringing people together in an authentic and intentional way. Um, when I first started WNorth 10 years ago, I got the impression, or not the impression, but I was having a number of different experiences, even from a women's leadership perspective, where women were not supporting one another. And I think that has changed a lot, luckily, over the last 10 years. But I think the foundations of everything that we do at WNorth has been with this lens of, and this came out in the theme for this year's conference, which is Lift as We Climb. And I think at the end of the day, there's been such a long period of time where there were so few positions of leadership for women at the top that there was this competition. And so my mission and all the work that I've been doing with WNorth has been about breaking down those barriers and breaking down those notions of there's only so many spaces for us at the top. And so I think what you witnessed with this year's conference was, you know, not just one event, but years of building a community. And half of the women in the room were members. And so they've been um, kind of they've kind of grown up over the last couple of years with this in their blood and their DNA of supporting one another as we get to that destination. And it may not be senior executive leadership; it may be another version of success for them. But I think that's something I'm truly passionate about with all of the events that we execute.
And the theme that you did was just so amazing. Remember the theme? Lift up?
Lift as we
Lift,
climb.
lift as we climb was, it was just like so it just resonates with all my values and principles and what I talk about, because there's always event after event and after event. And then when you come out of the event, you're like, okay, when is the next invite to another event? But I wanted to be in a place where it wasn't just an event, there were actionable strategies and it was believable and it happened and we were able to lift as we climb. And I thought you did incredible well with Dublin North. And I just set up my theme when I came to speak. I didn't even know, I didn't really research what the theme of Dublin North was all about. All I know was to just come talk to women. Let's support one another. There's enough room at the top, right? So, and then this is something that usually does, it's sad to say, but I always feel like within, we talk about women supporting one another, and then I'm now understanding better the reason why you do Dublin North and how you really want to bring women together so that we can lift as we climb. But to the women out there that are feeling unsupported or that are feeling, if I support her, she's gonna take my shine, or that's gonna affect my executive position or whatever position they have. What is the message do you want to say about how we can really lift as we climb? Because there's enough room at the top.
Yes, definitely. Well, I think that one of the focuses, and we've actually just even altered our branding a little bit in the last little bit, is what is your version of success? What is that summit that you wish to climb? Um, is it that senior executive position, or is it something slightly different? So I think what my advice would be is taking a very good look at what your version of success is. Is it that version that the company has defined for you, or is there another path? We talk a lot about um, lattices versus ladders. Is it moving sideways before we move up? Is there another executive position? Um, is there another sweet spot in the career trajectory that you're kind of going towards? And so defining what that is for yourself and just separating it from what other people around you and their missions are, and defining it for yourself first, and then figuring out, how you can support others and their definition of success. So I'd say, just giving yourself a moment to define your version of success.
And I think everyone should have a plan to build their legacy, what their legacy is going to look like. When you look back, it's just like the duckling when they're walking and they're following the mother duck, right? You want to have a long trail like that. That's what I feel. For me, if you ask me what's my level of success, I'm not afraid of anyone to be where I am. I would want them to be above where I am so I could get more opportunities to bring a lot of more people along. Because the more we do that, the more we expand the economy. It goes into a lot of more, because here we talk about financial growth, we talk about, growing capital here on Unfiltered with Mariat. And I always look one of my biggest value proposition is personal and business growth. And that's really stemmed from exponential financial growth. So when I look at someone like Heather, I'm like, how can I support in my own little way to build this big empire with Heather? Because if it becomes a blown out empire, I look back and I say, wow, we did it. It's always gonna be we did it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just like, how do we get a lot more women to stand away from the fear of succeeding? Like I just want to go on my own, so no one is competing with me. And then indirectly that turns into a wide competition with themselves because you don't really you're just afraid of someone better than you or shining or something. And I think we shine brighter together. That's what I said at your event is, light one put a touch on, it's gonna shine. But when we light all up all the touches together, the room is shining so brightly. And that's what I want to say for women. It's coming to International Women's Day. Before you know it, it's here already. Is there any plans you have? Tell us, Elda.
My plans for International Women's Day?
I'm putting you on the I know I don't want to put you on kind of like a duress here, but I just want to see, is there anything special, any theme so that we can
Yes.
start thinking towards that?
So I'm very excited about International Women's Day. As I think I already mentioned, WNorth is celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. So we set out on a global tour that we kicked off in New York in September. And part of that tour is going to London for our 5th year. And we will be at the new Raffles London at the OWO, which is the Old War Office, which is a new hotel property in London for our annual International Women's Day breakfast in partnership with the Canada UK Chamber of Commerce. So I am very excited. We've done a couple of events, but I haven't been back to London since March 6th, 2020, when we had it was the last in-person breakfast in London that I attended. We've had several since, and the world was crumbling around us. And I had to make the decision.
Reason if that was COVID era,
It was
right?
the days before COVID. We weren't sure if we were going to go ahead with our event. We ended up going ahead. 50% of the people didn't show up. It was a thing. I was in denial. I had my 2020 conference 5 weeks away. I remember I'm going on a tangent here for a second, but I remember sitting on the side of the Thames, and I even recorded it on Instagram. And I've looked at it since, and it was like, I just want to assure everybody that the WNorth conference is going ahead as planned. And this, 5, 6 days later, it was canceled. But, I haven't been back to London since that day. So I'm very excited to be returning to London for our 5th annual luncheon or breakfast event. And it will be the first time since that time. So what is that? That's 5 years? Is that 5
Wow.
years already?
That's what a celebration, Heather.
Oh my gosh,
So
it's 5 years. We skipped a couple years, as you can imagine, but yeah.
yeah, since 2020, so that's about 4 years now.
Yes, my math is a bit off, but yeah, we skipped a couple of years of it, but we're bringing it back, and so I'll be there. We're working on finalizing the theme, but a lot of our 2020 programming is going to be around the business of good, and a lot of women come from a place of empathetic leadership as a base point already, but there are a lot of changes that we need to make to business that will impact sustainability, make it a social impact. And so we are looking at our programming from that lens this year. And so we will be celebrating some incredible women that are doing great things for that. So
Awesome.
yeah.
I'm really so looking forward to that. So please share more with us. So Heather, we're going to be rounding up soon, but I wanted to talk about Forbes. I know you're a Forbes contributor, and I am I have a strong working relationship with Forbes myself, and I lead Forbes ALK Canada, and I know you're a contributor and you're a speaker. And I really loved what you talk about social impact because that's something Forbes is really big into, right? So social impact, giving BLK is something like, we're doing. Even I have an event coming and giving BLK is a big part of that. So for someone who doesn't know what you do with Forbes, is there anything you want to share with us?
Yeah. So, a couple of years ago, I became a writer and thought leader on LinkedIn and with Forbes on specifically the topics that are affecting the reasons why women are leaving the workforce. And so, a lot of the topics that I focus on with regards to thought leadership are things like, and what's firing me up right now is childcare. We have a lot of women that are leaving the workforce because they have inadequate childcare, even in Canada, where we have an enormous amount of support systems. So I like to educate through some of the pieces that I write organizations on how to support these women and how to keep more women in the workforce and in the pipeline to senior executive leadership. So that's something I'm super passionate about. It became, you know, it's very, very important and relevant during the pandemic, and even more so now as we see things shift to a demand for people to return to the office. And we know from the statistics that during the pandemic, the people that greatly benefited from remote work were people of color and women. And so as we move and we shift to this model where organizations are demanding people to go back to the office, who does that affect? People of color and women. And so we have I continue to want to sort of shout these things from the rooftop. If we are truly focused on, diversity of thought and building senior executive teams that look diverse, going back to these, somewhat archaic ways of doing things is not going to move the needle.
There's so much gaps there. So, and I think that's another this topic. This is something like I'm big about when it comes to inclusion and equity. We can talk about it for a long time because
Yeah, it is another
there's
podcast.
big gap and there's so much more we can do to get better at that. But okay, just for people to know, Heather, because here, like I said, we have great conversation. We build connection. I really want to build that connection with you. And I want those listening to build a connection with Heather. And if there's any woman out there who wants to know more about WNorth, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to give you an intro to this amazing woman. Show up, bring your business over there and be part of the WNorth family. Um, on that note, Heather, what do you like to eat? What will you eat every day?
I love sushi. So I'm
You eat it
actually,
every day?
no, I can't eat it every day.
We wanna know what you're gonna eat
Oh,
every
what
day,
I'm going to eat
sweetheart,
every day?
that you love so much.
Well,
You
like
might
I
just
would,
tell
I
you
would
might
eat
tell your
sushi. I
family
can't
you're
pick
not
it.
gonna eat it today, but you go to the kitchen and hide and eat it.
Oh, well, I can't eat it every day, but like sour candies. And it's just Halloween last night. So I was like going through my kids, like, ooh, those are good. I might take those sour candies. But I can't eat that every day. So, I mean, I don't know. What do I
Will
eat
you
for
eat it every other
breakfast?
day? If you like it so much, every other day, Heather, come
That's why I
on.
have to do the workouts to eat the sour candy. It's all a
Mm,
balance.
okay. So you have the pack and you just you take one a day or one in a week, but you normally just have the packet for the day.
Yes.
Well, I tell you about it's popcorn.
I love popcorn too,
Ah,
actually.
and I tell people I don't like eating popcorn, but then I'm watching a movie and I'm doing my Netflix and chill, and I finish a big pack of popcorn, and I said, "That wasn't me," and I talk to myself, "I didn't eat that alone." And I go hide it so that no one knows that the pack is empty,
I
because
love
then they
it.
become like,
My husband doesn't like popcorn, so I usually get the whole bag to myself unless my kids are home,
"Ooh,
and then
I
I don't.
love my
But
popcorn."
he doesn't like how it sticks in his teeth. I'm like, "That's what floss is
What?
for." Yeah.
That's what you use you kind of have to move your teeth and your tongue to work together on that popcorn eating. We need to
So
show
true.
him how to eat popcorn. Okay,
Exactly.
Heather, another question.
Yes.
Dead or alive, which badass actress do you think you like to play?
Oh, that I would like to play?
Hmm. That you really think, I could do this?
America Ferrera.
Ooh. Tell us why.
Yes. I don't know. I I loved her. I loved her speech in Barbie, and I love what she does and she stands for outside of, being in like Hollywood. She's a huge advocate for women's rights um, and she's just very vocal and very active in the space of women's rights, women's health. Um, she's just amazing. She's one of my favorites. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
With
Thank you,
Unfiltered with
Mariat.
Mariat, you've been just a pleasure to speak to, and we'll hope to see you soon again.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.